I'm going to be talking to Dr. Chris Bataille, who's an economic modeler from Vancouver. He co-authored a paper with a couple of University of Calgary academics about how hydrogen can be used to decarbonize the Alberta electricity system. So welcome to the interview, Chris.
Hi, Markham. Nice to see you today.
Well, look, let's start off with a bit of a summary of the paper, if you don't mind.
Yeah, in a nutshell, this paper is how Alberta, which currently has one of the most GHG intense electricity grids in the country, can make it easier for it to get to a clean electricity grid.
Right.
And
well, okay, so and you were talking about making hydrogen out of natural gas using the steam methane reforming process, correct?
yeah, there's two different ways you can make clean hydrogen. One is you take a fossil fuel, mainly natural gas, you reform it with water, and what comes out is carbon monoxide and hydrogen, and then the carbon dioxide goes down in the ground, and you keep the hydrogen. But you have to be careful about the fugitives attached to the methane. You need ultra low fugitives. The other way is to use electricity to split water in an electrolyzer into hydrogen and oxygen. Now, what we found in this pair of studies is that we're very well endowed in Canada for making clean, cheap hydrogen. In Alberta and Saskatchewan and Northeast BC, it would be from methane with CCS, and in Quebec, Manitoba, and BC as well, you could make it from electricity.
Right, gotcha. So how would the hydrogen be used to integrate renewables into the Alberta power grid?
Yeah, and there's the key. So Alberta actually has really good wind potential and really good solar potential. And that might surprise some people. We actually have pretty good solar across much of Canada. So the trick is, obviously the wind doesn't blow all the time, solar doesn't come all the time, so you need some sort of backup power. Now that's where the hydrogen comes in. So Alberta is very quickly getting rid of its coal plants. So what it's going to have is a mixture of natural gas plants, wind, solar, and hydro. And they're going to slowly start paring back the gas and adding more and more wind and solar. Now, that's good enough for now, but in the long run, what you want is a clean gas that you can burn with the methane, with the natural gas in the turbines, and eventually completely replace it. Now, it turns out most of Alberta's natural gas turbines can burn either hydrogen or natural gas, and you mix the two right at the manifold before it's combusted. And so that way you can put in the blue or the green, the methane-based hydrogen or the electrolysis-based hydrogen. And what that does is over time, as the hydrogen gets cheaper, you add more and more of that gas to the turbines, which follow behind the wind and solar and balance the whole system.
Well, that sounds like an ideal system. So we're talking about, do we have a timeline on this? Because
yes.
I assume that the Alberta government's talking about, in fact, it just released its hydrogen roadmap yesterday. And it wants to get to natural gas as a feedstock for hydrogen fairly quickly. So are we talking about getting there by 2030, where we're going to have hydrogen in these gas plants, or are we talking about later?
Well, the interesting thing is it's a technology that exists today. As fast as you can build this commercial equipment, you could be doing it. Now, we also at the same time want to reduce the methane well to formation gas cleaning through to the generation equipment. You want to get rid of all those fugitives, but really within a few years, you could have quite a bit of blue hydrogen going through gas turbines in Alberta's system. Now, the interesting thing in the long run, so in the short run, we're talking, say, 2025 through 2040, you're going to be primarily this blue methane and CCS-based hydrogen. But because electrolyzers are getting cheaper and solar and wind are getting cheaper, eventually you're going to be doing more electrolysis. What that means is you have a big fleet of these solar PV panels and wind turbines going, and when there's too much electricity being generated, the water is split into hydrogen and oxygen, and you store it underground in salt caverns, which actually happen to be handily available in Alberta.
Now, one question for you on the natural gas being used to make hydrogen. BC has relatively clean natural gas. It has a methane emission leak rate of about 1/3%. And Alberta, that's not the case. It's much dirtier. It's around 3%, which is the threshold that you need to be under in order to burn natural gas to be better than coal. So And recent studies have shown actually that the Alberta natural gas might be 1.5 to 2 times more carbon intense than that, because we haven't had the measurement technology until recently. So was any of that figure into your study, the carbon intensity of the feedstock?
Yes, well, we used Environment Canada's official numbers for leakage for Alberta for the study, and the numbers are all in there. It works out that it's less GHG intense. We factored in the fact it could be 50 to 100% more leaky as well, which is probable. It's actually probably most producers globally that are leaking way more than they're reporting. Now, the key thing here is that it's actually quite cheap and easy to get rid of those fugitives. You basically have to go, you put a cover on the wellhead, you bring in pipe to collect the extra natural gas. For the flares, you put in a special cyclone combustor to make sure it's all combusted into water and CO2. And then you walk along the lines and you just fix all the leaks and you get to the formation. It's just labor intensive. It's a make work project. It's a beautiful make work project that gets rid of a lot of hardcore GHGs.
Well, Chris, thank you very much for this. Really appreciate your insights. And with any luck, we will see a decarbonized Alberta electricity grid by 2030.
I'm very much hoping so. And thank you, Markham.